Okay guys, I got the call from the wife the other day that the dryer was broken. So after looking at YouTube and lots of Google searches, I found out different ways to troubleshoot a dryer, but I never could find anything on my model. So this video is just to show you how to access the heater and other elements on a Whirlpool Cabrio dryer. The tools I'm going to use today are a 5/16 inch nut driver, flathead screwdriver, a flashlight. This is a Streamlight ProTac, and a thin tool. This is actually a metal putty knife. Any thin tool, maybe a butter knife would work. This is the key tool to have. And I've got a bungee cord for holding up the lid. Alright, let's get started. Alright, I almost forgot. We also need a pocket knife. What we got here is an Ontario Shikra. And also wrist check. I've got a Seiko SKX007 modded Cerakote. The model number is actually here on the inside of the door. And the key to getting this thing open is right here in the front are a couple of spring clips. But we always want to remember, for safety, remove power from your appliance. Now we're safe. Alright, the key, like I said, is the spring clips. There's one on both sides in the front. What you want to do is get your thin tool, push in on the spring clip. You may have to push down on the top a little. Push in on the spring clip and it will release. Do the same on both sides. Alright, once you get the spring clips released, you can tilt your door up, and that's why I got the bungee cords to hold the door up out of the way. In order to get the whole front off, there are two 5/16 inch screws on either side. You have to get these from the inside. But before we do that, there is one electrical connector over on the right that we want to disconnect. Use a screwdriver to unlock it. Electrical connector is disconnected. Got my nut driver. And you got your small little machine screw, 5/16. They're all over this thing. Get both screws out. As you see, the entire front is loose. Okay, it is being held on the bottom. There's a couple of clips down on the bottom that hold it in place. I'll show you those in a minute. But to remove the front, all you do is lift up and the entire front comes off. Now with the front off, you have access to the drum. Also access down on the right hand side to the drive motor. The drive motor, you see a belt here that drives the blower, and behind that is another belt that drives the drum. On the left hand side, you have your heater assembly. If you look in there, you can see there is the heater assembly, and there's two switches. The goal is to determine what's wrong and why the dryer won't heat. These are the clips on the bottom that the front panel latches onto in those square holes. On this model, in order to get to the heater element, you actually have to remove this ductwork, remove this front panel. They're all held together with those 5/16 inch nuts, and actually take the drum out. And that whole evolution is shown in other videos. So once you actually get to the heater element, before you remove any wires, it's a good idea to either make a wiring diagram or to take a picture. I actually did both. Here's a wiring diagram. You got three elements. You got the heating element, you got the thermostat, and you got the thermal cutoff. The thermal cutoff and the thermostat, if you have an ohm meter, should read 0 ohms. If they read infinite or open, they're faulty. The heating element should have a certain amount of resistance, say around 10 ohms or so. When I read mine with the ohm meter, it read open, so the heating element was bad. Okay, once your repair's been made, it's time to put everything back together. Probably the trickiest part is getting those square holes on the latches on the bottom. Got that one. And I believe I got the one on the right. I'm going to reinstall the 2 screws on the inside.
That's one.
That's 2. Reinstall our electrical connector, reconnect it. All right. Now, before we shut the top, I want to take a look at these spring clips. These are the clips that you have to release in order to get the top to open up. All right. This white plastic piece is just a guide. So, ready to button everything up. Top's back on, and we're done. Plug it back in for a functional check. Works like a champ. There are other videos that show the entire process of removing the drum and reinstalling the drum. I'll link that in the description below. I'll also link the parts that were used to fix mine. This is the actual heater assembly that failed on mine. It got overheated. You can see right here where it actually opened up. It's basically just like a resistive heating element that you would have inside a toaster, but it's dryer sized. If you like this video, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Thanks. Go Vols.